Before you point another finger, did you ever look in the mirror? Well then, come sit on Mama Graves' porch. Now, come on up here. Don't stand down there in the yard like a stranger. Pull that chair up on the porch and sit with Mama Graves a minute. Take a breath first. Some of y'all been carrying a lifetime of noise in your chest and you don't even realize it. Now, I don't know what kind of house you grew up in. Some people grew up where laughter bounced off the walls and supper smelled like peace. But a whole lot of you watching this, you grew up in houses where tension walked through the door before anybody else did. You could feel it in the air. The kind of house where voices got sharp real quick. Or worse, where silence got so thick you could almost hear it breathing, and nobody explained it. That's the tricky thing about family dysfunction. It don't always look like chaos from the outside. Sometimes it looks respectable. Nice house, clean clothes, food on the table. But behind the doors, emotions nobody knew how to handle. Pain nobody wanted to admit. And a whole lot of children learning survival skills before they ever learn peace. And when you grow up inside something long enough, you start believing it's normal, but it's not. Let Mama Graves walk you through some signs, real ones, the kind folks don't like talking about at family reunions, the signs most people dismiss and sweep under the rug on purpose. First sign, you had to grow up too early, not because you wanted to, but because somebody in that house had to be the stable one. You were the child calming arguments, the child keeping secrets, the child trying to make everybody else comfortable. That's not maturity. That's survival. Second sign, nobody in your family knew how to deal with emotion in a healthy way. Some folks yelled, some folks shut down, some folks used guilt like seasoning on every conversation. But very few people ever sat down and said the two most healing words in the world. I'm sorry. Now here's another sign people overlook. Love in dysfunctional families often comes with invisible contracts. You're loved when you behave, loved when you agree, loved when you stay quiet. But the moment you question something, set a boundary, or choose your own life, suddenly you're disrespectful. That ain't love. That's control in a family photo. Now let's talk about what growing up like that does to a person. Because childhood doesn't just disappear. It wires you. When a child grows up around unpredictability, their brain becomes a scanner. You start reading faces, measuring tone, predicting moods. Your nervous system stays on guard like a night watchman that never clocks out. And then one day you grow up, but your body never got the message that the war ended. So now peace feels uncomfortable. Healthy love feels suspicious. Silence feels dangerous. And here's where the cycle gets sneaky. A lot of people raised in dysfunction don't just escape chaos. They recreate it. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because chaos feels familiar. Familiar doesn't mean healthy. It just means practiced. Now here's where the cycle gets heavy, because family dysfunction rarely stops with one generation. It travels. Like an old story nobody questions. Most families pass down two things quietly: pain and silence. Nobody asks hard questions. Nobody challenges old behavior. Everybody just learns their role: the peacemaker, the scapegoat, the golden child, the quiet one, the one who left. And the cycle rolls forward generation after generation like an old wagon with crooked wheels. But every now and then, one person wakes up. One person looks around and says, "This ain't right." And let Mama Graves tell you something. The one who sees the dysfunction is usually the one blamed for exposing it. Truth makes comfortable lies nervous. But breaking cycles requires courage most families have never practiced, let alone a second guess. Now, before you leave this porch thinking this is just about blaming your family, let's talk responsibility. Because healing ain't about punishing your family. It's about refusing to become them. You can acknowledge the damage without living inside it forever. You can love people from a distance. You can forgive without reopening doors that harmed you. And most importantly, you can learn a new way to live. That means reflection when it hurts. Boundaries even when people get upset. Growth even when nobody else around you understands it. Because peace requires courage. And somebody in every bloodline has to be brave enough to say, it stops here. Maybe that somebody is you. Now you might want to write this down or watch this video as many times as you need to, because I'm about to break it down the old-fashioned way. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. So who needs healing? You. You can't drag grown folks into wholeness like a sack of potato. The only person you're responsible for is the one sitting in your own skin. Stop waiting for apologies to give you permission to move on. What are you healing? Not just memories. You healing patterns. The way you react, the way you choose partners, the way you over-explain, the way you shut down, the way you tolerate mess just to keep peace. We're not rewriting history. We're rewiring your habits. When does healing start? Not when you feel ready. Ready is a lie comfort tells you. Healing starts when you get tired of repeating the same pain in a different year. Start now. Start messy. Start honest. Where do you heal? In quiet places where you can hear yourself. In therapy if you can. In journaling if you won't. In prayer if you believe. In community with safe people who don't romanticize your suffering. But you do not heal in rooms that require you to stay small to be loved. Why heal? Because if you don't, you will keep bleeding on people who didn't cut you. You'll wake up one day and realize you became the very thing that hurt you. Healing is how you end the cycle without becoming bitter, cold, or dangerous to everybody around you. And how do you make it easier? Listen close, child. Name that pattern out loud. What keeps repeating? Don't dress it up. Set one boundary and keep it. Not 10. 1. And hold it like it's holy. Limit access to what triggers you. You don't owe people unlimited entry to your nervous system. Replace the coping. If you scroll, drink, overwork, overgive, or isolate, swap one habit at a time for something that actually steadies you. Give yourself a deadline for denial. You can grieve, you can rage, you can feel it, but you cannot live there forever. Healing requires a decision. Now I'm going to say this with love and steel. Healing gets easier when you stop trying to heal in the same environment that made you sick. You can forgive and still lock the door. You can still refuse to carry their dysfunction like it's your assignment. That's what grown healing looks like. Now let Mama Graves pray for you before you head out in the yonder. God, you see every person listening who grew up carrying things their heart was never meant to hold. You saw the houses they lived in, the tension they felt, the silence they endured. I ask that you calm the nervous systems that never learned rest. Heal the wounds that were inherited but never deserved. Give them courage to set boundaries without guilt. Give them wisdom to build peace where chaos chaos once lived, and if they are the first in their family to choose healing, stand beside them while they do it. Amen. Now go on out there and build yourself a peaceful life. And remember, Mama Graves loves you too much to stay stuck.